Hey boys and girls, I hope you guys are doing okay. I was so impressed by the responses that you gave me for your character traits and the supporting details, the things that you say or do to support those character traits. That was awesome. It was really fun to read. All right, so today I am going to read the first chapter of Clementine. You may have already read the first chapter, but for those of you who just like to follow along while I read, I figured I'd post this if you would like that. So this is my favorite third grade chapter book. It's Clementine by Sarah Pennypacker. And Clementine is a very witty girl. Witty meaning, she has a really good sense of humor. She is extremely unique. And if you look at the illustration on the front, you can tell she's unique. She's got curly hair. She dresses in a unique way. And yesterday, when I posted the assignment, if you worked ahead, you hopefully did a picture walk through the first 6 chapters that I sent home, and were able to figure out some other things about her character from the illustrations that were included in those chapters. So all right, so if you do not have your paper copy and you need it, you can hit pause on the video and run grab it, and then come back and follow along as I read. Remember, I have said it a zillion times, you need to see the words as you hear the words. So you need to be keeping your eyes on the page at all times, okay? All right, so the very first chapter, we learn quite a bit from the first sentence, the first paragraph. There's so many things that we can infer based on just the first paragraph in chapter 1. All right, so let's get started. It says, I have not had so good of a week. And we can look at that illustration, boys and girls, and see from her facial expression and the way she's sitting, her posture, and, we can tell that she's not in a great mood, okay? So hopefully you were able to see the same thing that I'm seeing. It said, I have not had so good of a week. Well, Monday was a pretty good day, if you don't count hamburger surprise at lunch and Margaret's mother coming to get her, or the stuff that happened in the principal's office when I got sent there to explain that Margaret's hair was not my fault. And besides, she looked okay without it. But I couldn't because Principal Rice was gone trying to calm down Margaret's mother. So we already figured out that that she didn't have a good week, and it has something to do with Margaret, and something happened to her hair, and as a result, Clementine got sent where? To the principal's office. So that's not a good thing, right? Let's continue. Someone should tell you not to answer the phone in the principal's office, if that's a rule. Okay, fine. Monday was not so good of a day, which was a surprise because it started off with 2 lucky signs, which fooled me. First, there were exactly enough banana slices in my cereal, 1 for every spoonful. Then, as soon as I got to school, my teacher said, the following students are excused from journal writing so they can go to the art room to work on their Welcome to the Future projects. And I was one of the following students. So instead of having to think up of things to write in my journal, which I hate, I got to glue and paint stuff, which I love. Margaret was in the art room too. When I sat down next to her, she threw herself across the Princess from the Future mask that she was gluing sparkles onto. Remember the rules, she warned. Margaret is in 4th grade and I am in 3rd. She thinks that makes her the boss of me. I hate Margaret's rules. All right, so we know there's another character that's going to come into play in this particular book, even more so now. So we've got Clementine, we've got Margaret. We know that Clementine is in what grade? 3rd, right? And we know that Margaret is in which grade? 4th, right? And so we already know a little bit about Margaret's personality. Based on what we have read, we can assume that Margaret is a little bit bossy, okay, based on what Clementine has said thus far. You can't touch my stuff, she said, which she always says. Why? I said, which I always say. Because it's the rule, Margaret said, which she always says. Why? I said. Because you can't touch my stuff, she said. And then I pointed out the window, which was not exactly lying because I didn't say there was something out there. While Margaret was looking out of the window, I accidentally touched her mask. Do we think it was an accident? I don't think so. Twice, okay, fine. And then I got busy working on my project so I wouldn't have to hear any Clementine pay attentions. Except I did anyway, which was unfair because each time I was the only person in the whole art room who was paying attention, which is why I could tell everyone right in the middle of the Pledge of Allegiance that the lunchroom lady was sitting in the janitor's car and they were kissing again. No one else saw this disgusting scene because no one else was paying attention out the window. And after that, when it was my turn to pass around the stapler, I could tell everyone that the art teacher's scarf had an egg stain on it that looked, if you squinted, exactly like a pelican, which nobody else had noticed. So what do we know? We know that Clementine has an issue with paying attention, right? So she seems to be paying attention to everything except for what she is supposed to be paying attention to. Clementine, you need to pay attention, the art teacher said one more time. And just like the other times, I was paying attention. I was paying attention to Margaret's empty seat. Margaret had been excused to go to the girls' room, and when she left, she had scrunched up don't cry eyes and a pressed down don't cry mouth, and she had been gone a really long time, even for Margaret, who washes her hands one finger at a time. I need to go to the girls' room, I told my teacher, and that's where Margaret was, all right, curled up under the sink with her head on her knees. Margaret, I gasped, you're sitting on the floor. Margaret hitched herself over to the side a little so I could see. She'd placed a germ-protective layer of paper towels under her. Still, I said, what is the matter? Margaret pressed her head down harder into her knees, which were all shiny with tears. She pointed up, lying on the sink next to a pair of do not remove from the art room scissors was a chunk of straight brown hair. Uh-oh. Come out, Margaret, I said. Let me see. Margaret shook her head. I'm not coming out until it's grown back. Well, I think I see a germ crawling up your dress. Margaret jumped out from under the sink. She looked at herself in the mirror and began to cry again. I got glue in my hair, she sobbed. I was just trying to cut it out. Margaret's hair was halfway down her back long. It was hard not to notice the whole part over her left ear was missing. Maybe if we evened up a chunk over your right ear, I suggested. Margaret wiped her eyes dry and nodded. She handed me the scissors. I cut. We looked back in the mirror. It's like bangs. I tried to cheer her up, sort of. Except bangs are in your front hair, not the sides, Margaret reminded me. And then she took a deep sigh, picked up the scissors, and cut off all the hair over her forehead. Now the front half of her hair was all chopped off, and the back half was long and straight and shiny. Not so good, Margaret said, looking in the mirror. Not so good, I agreed. We looked at her not-so-good hair in the mirror for a really, really long time without saying anything, which is very hard for me. And then Margaret's bottom lip began to shiver, and her eyes filled up with tear balls again. She handed the scissors back to me, and then she closed her eyes and turned around. All of it? I asked. All of it. So I did, which is not exactly easy with those plastic art scissors, let me tell you. And just as I was finishing, the art teacher came in looking for us. Clementine, she shouted, what are you doing? And then Margaret went all historical, and the art teacher went all historical, and nobody could think of anything to do except the regular thing, which is send me to the principal's office. All right, so take a notice. The word historical was used in that paragraph. That's not the right word, right? So we know that historical means based on something from the past, right? So what word should she have used? She should have said hysterical. So that's called a pun. When you make a play on words, it's a type of figurative language. So that's a pun, and we've talked about that before. All right, let's continue. While I was sitting there, I drew a picture of Margaret with her chopped off hair. I made her look beautiful, like a dandelion. Here's a picture of that. That was kind of funny, huh? If they had a special class for gifted kids in art, I would definitely be in it. But they don't, which is also unfair. Only for math and English. I am not so good at English, okay, fine. But this year I am in the gifted class for math. And here's the bad surprise. So far, no gifts. Now, that's supposed to make you laugh, okay? So if you're in the gifted class for math, Clementine thinks that she's going to get gifts. However, what does that really mean, okay? It means that you are, gifted or skilled in math, right? I told Principal Rice about that problem when she got back from calming down Margaret's mother. So far, no gifts, I told her, extremely politely. Principal Rice rolled her eyes to the ceiling then like she was looking for something up there. Ceiling snakes, maybe? Just waiting to drip on you. That's what I used to be afraid of when I was little anyway. Now, I'm not afraid of anything. Okay, fine, I am afraid of pointy things, but that is all. Okay, and boomerangs. Clementine, you need to pay attention, said Principal Rice. We need to discuss Margaret's hair. What are you doing on the floor? Helping you look for ceiling snakes, I reminded her. Ceiling snakes? What ceiling snakes? She asked. See what I mean? Me paying attention. Everyone else not. I am amazed they let someone with this problem be the boss of a school. All right now, Clementine, Principal Rice said in her I'm trying to be patient, but it's getting harder voice. Why did you cut off Margaret's hair? I was helping, I said. And then I told Principal Rice how I'd helped her too. I answered the phone while you were gone. I ordered some new school pets. I told the gym teacher that we were never going to play dodgeball again, and I made 2 appointments for you. The phone kept going dead, so I guess it's busted, but at least I helped you a little. Well, that's what I thought. There's a look they teach a person to make in principal school that is not very nice. All right, so at the conclusion of chapter 1, I want you to go back and think about if you can summarize it in 1 to 2 sentences. Okay, so you're basically picking out the main idea, the big idea, what it's mostly about. And then I want you to add to your character profile sheets, one for Margaret and one for Clementine. If you can think of anything that supports the 2 words that you chose, character traits for each. What did Clementine say or do to support the character traits that you may have already chosen? And what did Margaret say or do to support the character traits that you chose for her? And then, each chapter will add to those character profiles, okay? All right, so I will see you soon. I miss you guys.